3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, it's me, Justin J. War, and we got...
Hey, I'm Norm.
Bert, and this is the second episode of the Chicago 60 podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So excited to have you all watching. For those of you who know, none of you do. But from now on, we will be making sure to post to let you people know that our Facebook Live is happening. It's going to be Sundays between the hours of 3 and 5 o'clock going forward. So we'll send out a quick note before we're doing the show. So if you want to watch live, you can. Luckily for all of you initial viewers of the Chicago 60 podcast, the show on Facebook Live will be going through the entirety of the show for the first few months. But then after a while, we will cut it off at about the first 30 minutes of the show. And sometimes it might only be a 30-minute show. Unlikely, but it might. And then you still get the whole show. That math works out, right?
It does. I think so.
Sweet. I've done math pretty good. Okay. Anyway, we're so happy to be bringing to you the second episode. And cool new thing, by the way, everybody. We just submitted the Chicago 60 podcast to iTunes. What? We gonna be popular like Steve Jobs, yo.
Apple is famous. That's what I hear. I don't use it. I hate Apple, but Apple's famous.
Yeah, that's true. I have all Apple products because I'm one of those people who tries to be a nerd. Yeah, or a hipster.
One of the two, right?
Anyway, cheers to the podcast. Da podcast.
Da podcast.
Da podcast. Okay. If you're not drinking, you're doing something wrong, folks. Okay, this was supposed to be a fun podcast, so, you know.
Hey, this is apple juice, so I'm having a good time.
Oh, that's great. Yeah,
All I need is like a pinwheel.
Who knows what's actually in here? It doesn't really matter either way, but fantastic. So we've got a great show lined up for you today. We have some very interesting stories to discuss, and some stories that, you know what, we just need to talk about, because that is just a requirement. But
before we get started, though, one thing I need everyone to understand, excuse me, and I really want to make this clear. If you have a boat, any type of yacht, any type of large vessel that goes on water and does this when it goes really fast, and you have a deck area and a nice life jacket that will fit my robust body, let us know.
Yes.
Because I will bring the bottle of champagne to break off
with a boat in it. It'll have a little boat in it.
So exactly. So then we can send that out with the other boats.
We'll send it off on its maiden voyage.
So
it'll be the Chicago 60 boat. Also, if any of you know people who make tiny boats and can fit them into bottles, we'd like to have a little Chicago 60. I wanted to say Chicago 60, but just on the back. It'll be very tiny, but just on the back of it, it says Chicago 60.
And before we do that, before we put it in the bottle, we'll have a mini bottle of champagne.
That's right.
And we'll break it off of the mini boat.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. It's very intricate stuff going on over here, the Chicago 60 podcast, everybody.
We go hard.
We go hard, just like when we drift in Japan.
Okay.
Yeah. We're like Vin Diesel and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Okay, no, because see, there were so many other Fast and Furious. Like, I'm sorry, there were a lot of good Fast. Like, you can't just
we're
throw
Paul
out.
Walker and Ludacris. He was in one of them, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, but he wasn't the main character really until like the last part of it.
All right, so who would we be then?
I mean, as the white-black scenario goes, it would probably be Paul Walker and Tyrese.
Okay,
I'm
Tyrese.
And
cool.
you are Paul Walker.
All right, I'll take that, but I'm dead, so that would be a problem.
Too
soon? Still, it's been like
man,
years.
It doesn't matter.
What do you mean?
He died in a car accident.
That's true, which is, can we just say, kind of ironic? Oh, man. God rest his soul. This is a good way to start off the podcast. Whatever, everybody loves Paul Walker. That's the whole point, which means everybody will ideally hate me. So that's good. Moving right along in other news.
Wonderful segment.
Thank you. I thought so. Well, we've got a lot of cool stories that we're talking about, but make sure to go check out the first episode of the Chicago 60 podcast. It is up on our YouTube channel, Chicago 60. Just type in Chicago 60. You will find it. You can also find it on Facebook. We record all of these live videos and we post them again, so they are on there. And pretty soon you will have it available on iTunes. So make sure, as we will let you know when it is up on iTunes, make sure to go and subscribe on iTunes and listen to us there. Wherever you find your local viewing needs, go there.
Is that your like Mick Jagger like puffed out?
Everybody go and check out the Chicago 60 podcast. It's going to be great. How we're gonna roll at this podcast, Norm. So just get with the program.
I'm here.
Okay?
I'm enjoying it.
Okay. Also, we don't have our man in the booth, Manny, with us. Manny is in Las Vegas right now. That lucky son of a gun. He got a free trip.
Shit.
Yeah, he's doing some nice stuff. He's working for this thing called the NAB or NAC. I think it's NAB show on there. He can tell us a little bit more about it next week when he's back on the podcast, but. We did all of this ourselves.
We're some big kids now.
Yeah! So we got a microphone. It only took me like an hour and a half, and I got everything figured out
so long
on the computer because my computer is slow as shit.
And he's using an Apple.
Exactly. Well, see, Apple, it's a problem. Okay. But anyway, let's get into the juice. Let's get into the juice of. I think we've done that was a good intro. All right, moving right along. It was a little bit dicey, but we made it through. We made it through, just like the Titanic, right?
The second one. Like Paul Walker and then the Titanic. Too soon, okay?
All right, well, okay. We're trying to keep it lively in here. All right, so we've got some very interesting things. So it's time for the news, okay? We're going to get to a bunch of, and pretty much these first few episodes are all going to be about the news. Because we are currently in the process of making sure we have our stuff figured out. But again, in the next couple of months or so, we intend to start having a running list of guests. And we may have a cool new studio coming about. So there's some cool, exciting things from the Chicago 60 podcast coming up.
What he's saying is we're just fucking around until we figure things out. And,
exactly.
Fall into some things like a boat.
We're serious about the boat. We will do our episode of a podcast on a boat.
I thought he was going to say we'll do anything for a boat.
We also may do anything for a boat. That's dangerous territory. Dangerous waters. Choppy waters, Norm. What are you getting into?
I know, but I put it out there. I'll do anything for a boat.
Boat puns. All right. Well, let's get into what happened in this last week. We have quite a bit of interesting information. Number one, the first thing to talk about, April Fool's Day was last Monday. And I don't know how you feel about this, Norm, but I am not a huge fan of the April Fool's Day.
It's a foul day.
It's a foul day. It's a foul day. I don't know who I mean, what do you know? Who still gets people just forget that it's April Fool's Day, and so that they get into the jokes, like they think that things are actually real. Like, for example, okay, the Bears came out with a post saying that they were going to wear an extra 1 on their jerseys for the entire upcoming season, because it's the 100th year of the NFL, and they're going to do it. And the Bears are playing the Packers in the first game because there's the two storied franchises in the NFL, which, the Bears are going to win. But the whole point is, they said, we're going to wear an extra, and they had like all these guys wear, like Trubisky and everybody was wearing jerseys with one. And then they had a photo where it said April Fools. Mitch Trubisky was walking by and said April Fools on the back of his jersey. And people still believe this. Like, there was a guy, I will even call him out. I will call him out and say, Tim Shanley from the Chicago Bears telegram. He believed this. What happened? What is going on with this April Fool's stuff, man? I don't get it.
Can we also admit that the Bears are really bad at April Fool's jokes? Because that is the stupidest thing.
I know, it is dumb, right?
Because it all makes kind of sense to do so, but then it's like, we got you, we're not gonna do it.
Right. It's so ridiculous.
Okay, even if you did, I mean, who's gonna hurt?
Right.
People who like numbers?
Right.
Well, leave it up to the Bears to not do something right.
Exactly. That is true. Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. You talked about Fast and Furious on the Titanic.
All right. Okay. I had an even worse joke about April Fools. I was like, thank goodness the state of Hawaii didn't have Sir, you know where I'm going with this, don't you?
Leave it alone.
It's just so easy. It's just so easy to bring up these things.
No, I don't understand the day anymore.
Yeah.
It's.
Who are you pranking? Like who's what?
I forgot it was a day, actually.
I made a post about my Irish improv show, Spuds and Stouts, and how we now officially have a monthly recurring show.
That was a beautiful plug, brother.
You're welcome.
That was a beautiful plug. You were just missing the time of that.
Sundays, 7 o'clock. First show is April 28th, folks. But I made a couple of posts on my Instagram page, on my personal one, Justin Jagoff on Instagram. I'm just killing with the plugs, man. Either really bad ones talking about dead people or my own stuff. It's crazy. But, so I made these posts, and my group mates, Joe and Kyle, who we will have on the podcast, they will be guests. We will talk more about all of those cool things because Norm is also going to be helping us. We'll do some comedy sketch videos and stuff. Spuds and Stouts is going to get legitimately legit, if I may say so myself.
That should be
that's the
flyer. It's just Spuds and Stouts, legitimately legit.
Legitimately legit. That's something all Irish people say.
I don't know what this is about, but I think I'm kind of into it.
It's so legit, though. It's a legit thing. But we're going to be doing a lot of stuff. But they messaged me. They said, "You idiot. You posted these things on April Fools. Nobody's going to believe that we have a monthly recurring show now." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't." See, now my posts are ruined because people are like, "Oh, they're joking." It's like, no, man. No, this is like, it ruins legitimacy on the day. If you post something legitimate, what if there was like a legitimate disaster occurring? Would everybody just be like, "Oh, ABC 7 Chicago, you guys, it's like tornado, impending tornado hitting suburbs." It's like, oh, people are taking photos. Wow, good Photoshop, ABC, CBS Chicago, you got us. It's like, it's coming from 5 different news sources. What, did they all get on the act together? Good job, guys. And then all of a sudden your house is blown away and you're dead on a light post somewhere. It's like, what is going on here?
They even got God involved. Oh, man, look at the weather. You guys are really doing it well, ABC.
Oh, man. I mean, it's just a ridiculous holiday. So stupid. So I also had an audition with NBC Sports Chicago, which was super great. But on April Fool's Day, the Cubs were playing, so we said, watch the game, and then we'll talk about it at the audition. It was like the Cubs were pulling a prank on everybody. They had 6 errors, the most that they've ever had since like a game in 1982 against the Phillies, which is the only reason why I know that is because I specifically looked up facts to talk about for the audition. I think I read that in a Tribune article. So, it's like, what is going on? What is
okay,
going on?
Okay, so can I be completely stupid for 1 minute, unlike
Please.
all the times that I'm stupid?
Please.
So, explain errors, because in my mind, in baseball, errors are like, oh, your shoes are untied. That's an error. Let them know. Like, error. Like, oh, no, his hat's on backwards. Give him an error.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Like, that looks a little too big for you. You get an error.
Yeah.
What are errors?
Errors. Oh, it's okay. So, for example, this guy, Mark Zagunis, he was playing left field, and like an easy pop-up, and all he had to do was just like cradle it. He just had to cradle the ball in his glove. It would have been an out, and it literally just dropped out of his glove. That was considered an error. They had a one, and by the way, then the guy ended up hitting a home run right after that, by the way, which was hilarious.
So wait.
So he could have ended the inning, and then they ended up like going on a 4-run thing.
So it fell out of his glove. Isn't that just a missed catch?
No, it's considered an error. Also considered an error when Javi Baez, Zagunis, and Almora Jr., who play center field. Again, I know all these things.
These are
did
fake
a lot
names.
They're all fake.
They're
not
names.
real players.
He's just making shit
I'm
up.
making shit up now. They all were running to catch a ball, and then Baez did the same thing. He was looking up, and then the ball literally fell right in between all 3 of them. It's like, what was this, The Sandlot? We're in the Sandlot movie now? They're all like a bunch of kids? What the hell's going on? Don't you think that stuff
I would
in
go
Little
see
League?
a Cubs game if they all dressed up as Sandlot, like kids from the Sandlot.
I totally would. Javi Baez is...
I would be there in a second.
I would definitely go to see that.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely go see that. Anyways, moving right along, in Otter Nose, Chicago, let's talk about measles! Dun, 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 dun. We don't have a sound effects board yet, but it's going to happen. Right, but it would have been that. So, anywho, that's not Chicago. The measles. So apparently, Chicago has had the most measles outbreaks. Most measles outbreaks? that sounds ominous. There's outbreaks everywhere. That's like,
filthy children. That's all it is. It's just filthy children.
Children touching things everywhere. That just doesn't sound good at all.
Cheeto fingers and their measles and
jerks.
They really.
Seriously. So apparently, all right. So let's get some statistics out on here. So there were more measles outbreaks. Mm-hmm. I think that is the correct terminology there. In the month of March of 2019 versus the entire year of 2018. So there were 387 cases of measles versus 372 in all of 2018. What the hell's going on here? What's going on? What is going on? That's, by the way, that's all the information that was in the article. They didn't say how it was happening. It's just measles everywhere. Oh, if you've got bumps, it's measles.
Oh, well, I don't know about that.
I know. I was just trying to get some enthusiasm.
If you've got bumps, you might have a whole list of things.
More likely,
it could be a pimple. So, but if it is measles, figure that out.
One bump doth not make measles.
Like, oh man, I got the measles.
Oh Jesus, I can't go into work. I got the measles. Dude, you have you have a cyst in your neck. No, it's the measles. It's like, no, man. Okay.
That would be a way that I would, guys, I got this large measles on my cheek. I just can't make it today, you know? Right. The measles got me today.
The measles.
Oh, man, it's one measle, so,
yeah,
you know.
It's one measle of the measles.
I'll be okay, though. You know, just a weekend or so, and I'll be right back up on my feet.
Anyway, I would probably say it must be happening because we had the weirdest weather in March where we had, like, snow randomly one day, and then it was, like, it's in the 60s. And then all of a sudden there's, rain. It's like, what's going on? Why does Mother Nature hate Chicago? I've been trying to figure this out for a very long time, but it's like Chicago is Mother Nature's little plaything where it like tests weather on us. It's like, let's give them snow in April. Boom! It's like, I don't know why she's doing those types of hand motions, but I'm talking like that. I feel like, what's going on with that?
Okay, so now I just officially realized that measles, I don't even know what the fuck measles look like. Because to me, in my mind, measles are like big lesions, like bumps all over your face. Like, is measles just cold?
If anybody knows what the measles are, please inform us because we're a bunch of dumb idiots. And we've got people messaging us here on the Facebook.
They're like, you idiots.
Like, you guys are idiots. These are not.
Measles aren't like bumps or anything. It's like a flu thing. Yeah. So
yeah.
Measles aren't that big of a deal, man.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to respond to some of the comments, but I can't see. I'm like theoretically blind, so I can't read your comments. But thank you for commenting.
He has an iPhone, that's why.
That's right. That's also because I have an iPhone and it's a piece of crap. Anyway, so I think it's because of the weird weather that's going on. I always tell people who come into Chicago, if you're a tourist or something and you want to know about the weather in Chicago, it never makes sense. You need to bring, no matter what time of the year you come to Chicago, you need to bring a jacket, both a heavy and lightweight jacket. You need to bring a pair of shorts, a bathing suit, because you don't know what's going to happen in the weather in Chicago. You could have a wonderful day. Like, you can't plan a trip before you come to Chicago. Like, prepare for all things when you come. It's like, pick like 10 to 20 things you want to do in the city, and then you'll get to like 4 or 5 of them maybe. Like, depending on the weather. It's like, the only consistent things you can definitely do is get some deep dish. Basically anything around food is definitely a certainty. But other than that, the activity, you might be able to definitely go into a museum. That's that too. Which, by the way, shout out to the Art Institute of Chicago. That is still the #1 museum in the world, I believe. So, fun fact. Which will be a segment at some point. Fun fact! And that's how I'm going to do it too. Fun fact! It's going to be...
And then define...
You got to do it, and then you slap me. So that's how it'll be.
You heard it there. I get to hit him on camera. All right.
Moving right along. In other news, we're getting a little bit of Mike Jarsky in there. Some good news. Homicides have gone down. So this is a weird... Thank you. I'm killing it on transitions right now. Apparently, so we have a decrease of homicides, but measles are going up. This is a weird correlation. What? What? What is it? Is it are homicides going down because everybody's getting the fucking measles?
Yeah.
I can't kill today, guys. I've got the measles.
Man, I'd shoot you if I wasn't sick with the measles. I'd fuck you up, man, if I wasn't sick with the measles right now.
Man, this is a bad weed.
Man, you lucky I'm sick with measles right now. I'd come over there and beat your ass.
Oh, jeez. But you know, it's a good thing. We're actually a lot better than New York right now.
Really?
So, New York, yeah, all these people in New York say, oh, New York's crime is going down, it's going to be good, okay? You know what Chicago said? We said, hey, Senor Trump, you know what, we're not as bad as your own city nowadays, so that's good. So let's get some statistics on that so we don't, so I'm not just blowing a bunch of smoke up Chicago's ass. So, what? Let's see here. Okay, so... Is that a decrease? I just realized my notes are horrific.
Because he actually made an increase.
I was reading. I read the Tribune, and then all this information is from the Tribune right now.
What if that was the Tribune's like April Fools?
Yeah, right. It's like
it's so dark and fucked
kidding.
up.
We're still killing in Chicago. It's
so
horrific.
Dark. It's so dark. It's so damn dark.
Whoopsies. That's ridiculous. But apparently it went down to only 38% in the first 3 months of 2019.
Okay.
So that's good news. So
Yeah,
it's going down. New York homicides have gone up to 65. So 65 total, which is a 14% increase. So Chicago's decreased by 38%. That's what that means.
Yeah, but it's also been cold.
It also has been
ridiculously cold.
It has been ridiculously cold.
Like, crime goes down when it's cold, and then when it gets warmer, we fuck shit up.
Yeah.
So
that's about right. Yeah. Let's wait. Let's give it the summer. Let's see what happens.
You should. I think we need to wait a little bit and find out, because when it comes at winning certain things, Chicago's great at that.
Right.
Like,
that's true.
There's certain things that we excel at, and
killing people is one of them.
I mean, not all crime. Let's be real. Chicago itself isn't like just filled with crime.
Listen, anybody who is going to be a tourist of Chicago, one simple rule to live by, because I've had people, I used to do a thing called couch surfing, where I would have people stay over for free and they would crash on my couch, things like that. And people would always say, oh, I'm a little worried about coming to Chicago because of all the homicides. And, they use the term homicide, or the murders. And I would say, look, there's one simple rule. As soon as you start seeing numbered streets, just go back up and you'll be fine. Like 35th Street's still okay. That's like South Loop, but pretty much anything beyond, lower than that, it's like you're starting to get into dicey territory.
It's so wrong.
It's not wrong. It's so true. It's a rule of thumb. It's a rule of thumb. You disagree?
I do disagree. I think the issue is, if you're walking down the street with your headphones on and a pile of shit and you're a little bit intoxicated, yeah, of course you're gonna get robbed. Of course someone's gonna rob you.
Of course
I'd rob you. Just to be like, see the stuff that I have? I took it from you because you weren't paying attention. And then I'd give it back to you nicely and dip out before the cops came.
Of course, yeah.
But I mean, our crime is between a select group, and we're fucking each other up. Let's be real.
Yeah.
And then, there's some spurts and patterns in other places. But it's not the entire city. And just don't be stupid. But hey, there's tons of people in this world who don't care.
That's true.
They do not care. You can get robbed in the smallest towns in the city, in the world.
It's just not as prevalent, is all.
No, we just rep it a little bit more. We just rep it better.
Yeah, we wrap it with a big bow and say, hey, no, statistics, here you go.
You can't look at the news and like, hey, so 30 people got shot today.
Yeah.
And it's like, even our news is like, by the way, we're killing each other. If we like brought it down a little bit and we're like, hey, you know what we should do instead of killing each other? Put more into education.
Seems like a good idea. And that's actually, it's a good segue. So what they found, per the Tribune article, is that social media is actually a big thing. So they actually listened to a podcast, and it might have been a Chicago podcast, by the way. It's All American Life. It's All American Life. This American Life. And there was a story about a kid who basically was beaten up or like killed because of just making a post. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't This American Life. It was Invisibilia. And so shout out to them and to This American Life. And please repost our post.
And All American Life.
Yeah, right, exactly.
If
Have
there's
us
something that says
on
All
your
American Life.
podcast. That would be ideal. And it was like this kid just made some social media posts about some other kid, and the kid ended up killing him. And he was like, admitted it. He's like, yeah, that guy. He said stuff about me, so I killed him. Like, he was totally a fire. He just said it. Like, so that's a big problem. Is actually it's social media, and so now, and it's mostly males between the age of 17 and 30. So that's the demographic right there. And so we need to help those. We have to help out like men, young men. That's our age.
I mean, to be honest though, between 17 and 30 is the perfect time for you to not give a fuck.
That's true.
Like, it's just full of, like, I could never die. Like, it's just full of, like, I do not care. And then you hit 30 and go, God, my back hurts.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I can commit a homicide today. My back is killing me. I was going to, fuck some shit up today, but you know what? My feet hurt.
I just want to, binge some Netflix
What's
instead.
on Netflix today? We got popcorn?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, forget this.
I'm going to put this gun up.
Yeah, that's right. It's like, you know what, guys? Let's just watch some Stranger Things today. I haven't gotten to it. Game of Thrones is coming out soon again. Let's just other things. We're not getting into that on this podcast. We'll get that. We'll talk about that in the next couple weeks when it's actually been back on. But just to finish up this entire thing, so that you're gonna love this. So they actually have increased the number of police in the area. So it's gone up to 13. So we currently have 13,400 active police officers. That's gone up by 1,000 in the last year, which is what the police chief and Mayor Rahm Emanuel attribute to the decrease in homicides. So, shocker, more police means less homicides, and also maybe because people are tired from the measles. But that's what they're attributing to. But they've been using what they call nerve centers. I swear to God, that's the term. They're using nerve centers to dissect all of the information that they're monitoring the social media accounts of people with these nerve centers. I don't know, that seems like some crazy Big Brother shit to me, but I just like the term nerve center. I just like picturing this big fucking brain. It's just, yes, Brandon is going to kill blah blah blah, like who is this? What is this, the Minority Report? Like, we gotta get like
so you're telling me there's people just sitting around going, you know what, Davis didn't do anything today. He took a shit and went to the bathroom today, but I think he's thinking about murder.
Get him!
Like, the way his feed is going, he posted something about cats, but then he had a gun in his picture. Yeah. Like,
that's not good. That's not good.
But we do that with, like, we're like, oh, okay, yeah, let's watch Daquez, but we can't watch Billy over there, who's a white supremacist. Like,
yeah, right, exactly.
Like, we can't watch him.
Right.
Who's like, touting, oh, yeah, KKK straight up, but Daquez from, 36th Street is like...
Of course, we don't know what the big brain in the nerve center is looking at. Maybe it is looking at Billy, but maybe not as with a fine-tooth comb. Now I'm just picturing a big brain with arms with a comb. Just, yes, this data is good, but this isn't.
I want to visit this nerve center.
Yeah, I would love to see it.
Like,
that would be
how it works and how they're like dissecting people and how they're watching people's posts, because I post some stupid shit on Facebook, but you could read it hard enough and go, I think he's a terrorist. Like, if I look hard enough, I think I can figure out terrorist intent in my own Facebook post.
I bet you, it's probably some scary shit in there.
Like, I'll go through and read some of my old posts and go, ooh, no, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're just going to run a list of all the things we should not have said and just posted. Hey, we apologize for all these things. So anyway, that's the thing. Homicides are going down. Well, that is fantastic.
Hopefully it stays that way.
Exactly. Hopefully it stays that way. And there's an amazing organization called CRED, and shout out to them. I don't know. I didn't write down what the acronym stands for, so shame on me. But CRED, C-R-E-D, and they are an organization that helps young African American men between those ages, 17 to 30, to get them on a good path so they're not involved in gangs and get them. So shout out to them. We will try and find their actual link and we'll post it so anybody can go and support them so we can help this situation. So and there's a whole theory on that, but
I will say maybe less police and more paying teachers better.
That could help.
And after school programs.
Yeah, but
less food deserts,
right.
Stuff like that. Maybe
all those things.
Maybe they might change things. Legalize weed, stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know, common sense stuff.
Simple.
Yeah. Well, but homicides are going down. But you know what homicides are not going down?
What?
The killing of birds.
Birds.
And they're angry. They're angry birds. Just trying to migrate, and they're coming through Chicago, and we're killing them. And you know what? It's indirect killing because it's basically because we have the best skyline of the entire country. This is not a joke. So the Chicago skyline has been killing migratory birds for a long time. And there is now a program. They started up a program in 1995 called the Lights Out program. So basically, between the hours of 11 p.m. until basically sunrise, Chicago will shut out all to as many of its lights in the downtown area. And what they found was that they've been saving more. They've saved approximately 10,000 birds during their migratory process. But another interesting fact is that apparently within a 1 square mile radius of the city, they have found up to 6,000 dead birds just lying around that they have picked up over the years. Like, we're killing. And it's because Chicago has the largest light pollution in all of the major U.S. cities, which is shocking to me because I would have thought New York or somebody would have had it worse. But apparently Chicago, we're the worst light polluters? It seems crazy to me.
The thing that surprises me is that Chicago is picking up dead birds in general. Like, in my mind, I figured they'd just be sitting out there and just be kind of like, oh yeah, that's another dead bird. It just happens here, you know?
Mom, dead pigeon!
Like, bird homicides are at an all-time high.
Yeah.
You know, it's no fault of their own. Fucking street pigeons. Like,
yeah.
That's
all kinds of... No, it's not just pigeons. It's also songbirds are actually the most at threat. So, and if anybody loves... You know, like, I'm just picturing that movie, like Shrek, where the bird's like, oh, you know, and she kills the bird by singing so high. But like, if you wanted that experience in Chicago, you can't because we're killing them. We're killing songbirds.
We're killing tweeters.
Stop it! Turn off your lights. Turn it off.
But I have wondered, like, you know, when you look at the Chicago skyline and you see all these office buildings and their lights on, and you just wonder, why the fuck are the lights on?
Yeah, who's working that?
And I'm assuming it's for planes, but. That logic may be completely incorrect. I don't know much about buildings. I'm more of a boat person myself. But, like, I get it, okay, turn off the top tier of the lights. That's okay, it doesn't change anything.
Yeah. Well, apparently the lights being on were confusing the birds. So they were flying into the buildings and killing themselves. Yeah.
Okay, then those birds needed to go.
They needed to get out of the gene pool. The dumb birds.
Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think bird deaths are bad. Period. But all bird deaths.
Unless they're cardinals. Nobody likes cardinals. In St. Louis, threw that in there.
I like all birds. So I'm not going to be a birdist here. But I guess if it keeps the birds alive, then, you know, I don't want to be responsible for any bird deaths because, you know, I'm a janitor working in a building and I left the lights on.
Right.
Like,
it's like, you don't want that on your conscience. You don't want to be walking outside and there's just like 20 dead birds and it's like, oh no, I didn't turn off the lights. I forgot to turn off the lights.
However, swans can get fucked.
Swans are horrific creatures.
They're nothing to mess with. Horrific. I don't wish death on swans, but swans can get fucked. Like, they do that gang thing where they like look at you while you're walking, like, yeah, what? Yeah, I poop here. I poop here. Yeah, keep walking. I poop here. And you're just like, okay, I don't even want to talk to you. So those birds can fly into a building, but yeah, let's save the birds.
Well, interesting you brought up poop because another big problem is pigeon poop. And an interesting, and I don't know if you've seen pigeons walking around the city of Chicago, but
I haven't seen pigeons walking around Chicago.
That's exactly my point. Horrific creatures, and they are pooping all over the place. My car just got pooped on the other day, and now I have to clean up that pigeon's poop. So, do you know what? So Boston also was having this. I think Chicago should adopt this strategy. I know you're excited about this topic. But Boston and the state of Massachusetts has come up with a program where they're going to bring a unique instrument into their environment to deal with the pigeons, to kill them, to stop seeing so much pigeon poop. And Norm, do you happen to know what that solution is?
Oh, I do, but I would love for you to.
Oh, you want me to do it?
Yeah, no, I'm excited about this.
Falcons!
Fucking Falcons.
Freaking Falcons! Yeah, that's right. And we're not talking about the Atlanta Falcons as much as I'd love to see Matt Ryan trying to, like, kill pigeons with footballs. Like,
this is my day job.
Julio Jones just, like, picking up Falcons and, like, biting their heads off like he's Ozzy Osbourne, lobbing them like they're grenades over fences. Not those Falcons. peregrine falcons. So Boston and the state of Massachusetts are now funding, in order to also save peregrine falcons, because apparently they might be an endangered species out there, but they're saving these falcons and then using them as a way to kill. Could you imagine walking down the street of Chicago and all of a sudden you just see a falcon swoop down and pick up like 2 pigeons in its talons and just fly the fuck away?
Okay, if this thing...
I would flip shit!
If this thing picks up 2 pigeons in its talons, then there's a few babies that are gonna take off.
Yes.
Like, they're just gonna swoop down like, giant pigeon, and just go after a baby and be like, oh.
Oops.
But falcons, like, it's like a jump to be like, okay, so we hate pigeon poop, so let's murder all the pigeons. But hey, we don't want to shoot the pigeons. We're just gonna release all the birds to fuck up the pigeons. And who says the falcons will
specifically say to the pigeons?
So then that means there's someone in a factory somewhere training a falcon to hate pigeons. Like, just showing it pigeon videos, just like, you see that little fucker right there? Yeah, you hate it, don't you?
I think it's innate to their nature to kill these pigeons. But
really?
Nevertheless. But hold on a minute. What if the falcon were to scratch, the baby's face, whatever? Think about 20 years from now, if that's a boy, he has a great story to tell some woman in a bar about how he got that scar on his face. I'm just saying, there's a bright side to every scenario, Norm.
It's like the start of the, when they, released the falcons to kill the pigeons during the pigeon purge. When I was a baby, I got scratched up, and these are my scars.
The pigeon purge. The PP. That's a new term for the phrase PP. The pigeon purge.
I'm a child. I'm a pure
We're
child.
Both large children.
God.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, falcons, man.
But you didn't say what they're going to potentially do with the falcon. Aren't they putting cameras on?
Oh, that's right. That's right. There's also going to be falcon cams. What do they got? Falcon cams.
Watch the falcons.
You could watch them
Fly around and be like, oh yeah, I'm with the falcons. And then
swoop
all of a
in.
sudden, they're just eating.
Yeah. It would be great new public television. Like PBS would have a whole new demographic, just people watching falcons killing the pigeons.
It's like, hey man, what the fuck you doing today? I'm just watching some falcons fuck up some pigeons, that's all.
Here's a question. How much watching falcons kill pigeons would eventually be like a concern for people? Somebody was like, this guy watched 10 hours a day of falcons killing pigeons. We should check out his house. I'm not gonna watch it, but I just think it would be. Could you? Maybe there's like a little placard that says Falcon Cam. It's like, what?
In my mind, I think it's interesting, and I definitely want to. I don't know. I feel like I'd love to see the room where they show all the pigeon propaganda.
Yeah, that would be. There would be pigeon propaganda, wouldn't there?
Hey, falcons, you hate these things, right? But don't kill anything else.
Right, don't kill anything else.
Don't murder
just the pigeons. Don't scratch babies.
The pigeons.
Yeah, just the pigeons. Oh my goodness. So, Lori Lightfoot getting some new legislation for falcons, okay? And that brings us to our next topic. Oh, see, I'm crushing it today with segues. I'm doing very well. It's like I've done this. So the Chicago has, in its amazingly long history of however many hundreds of years, like 100 plus some years, has elected its first ever African American woman as mayor and first openly gay mayor. By the way, same person, Lori Lightfoot. We got a twofer.
They wanted to get it all in one, so they're just like,
dos a uno.
We could bring in 2 people, but that just seems kind of complicated to like the Chicago people.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah,
let's do it once.
Let's get it all out in one fell swoop, and then we'll get back to white people after that.
Screw you, Obama. We go hard in Chicago.
That's right.
Screw you. We go hard in Chicago. We get it all in one.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So, congratulations to Lori Lightfoot. Good for you. I mean, I would definitely say, we got a like for that.
It's a hard job, though.
It is a hard job.
I would never want to do her job.
No, let's hope she doesn't screw that up, because she knew to this. She knew. She was an attorney.
And I mean, we need a fresh new outlook on how to make Chicago better in local and in national circuit. So hey, I'm excited. New changes, new things.
She's a very tiny person, though. Apparently, that she's gotten a lot of flack for being like she's a tiny woman.
Really?
She's a tiny lady.
No tiny person can run Chicago.
We don't want. I don't even know what the correct term would be for that anymore, without making offense. We don't want.
Yeah.
What is the term? I don't even know nowadays. I like.
We don't want a short person.
We don't want short people. We don't want short people.
We don't want people who have to, let the bus use the hydraulics to let you on. You need to hop up. The bus is Chicago.
It's Chicago. You pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
You grab that yellow bar and yank yourself into and then you pay.
That's right.
You pay like a real Chicago.
That's right. You pay like a real Chicagoan. You take the damn bus.
No, but that's awesome. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Even though I saw no one voting.
Yeah, that's right. Early turnout for voting this year was at an all-time low.
Yeah.
All-time low. Some statistics around that. They only had 121,000 early votes. Last in 2015, there were 142,000, so down 20,000 already. There was a political cartoon in the Tribune where it was Preckwinkle and Lightfoot, and they were like, Preckwinkle was like, "This is going to be a historic election." And Lightfoot's like, for like who? Dozens and dozens of Chicagoans? Like, I went and voted, and there were at least 5 people who came up and were like, "Thank you for voting." And I'm like, whoa, man, chill. Like, obviously, it's a civic duty, whatever. But nobody went out.
It took me longer to get registered than it was to vote. Like, I stood there, and they're like, "Okay, so your information." And I'm like, "I live around the corner. We do this every time. Yeah. We just got done with this." Yeah. It was like, your signature's a little bit different." "What do you mean my signature?" Okay. And then they handed me the slip of paper, and I'm like, "Well, I can just do this here. I don't need to go anywhere. Here you go."
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Just zoop it in the machine, and I'm gone. Zoop. And then I feel like, in reality, those things are just giant shredders.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Take them in
and your vote doesn't matter. This is Chicago. We'll tell you how you voted.
They're like, "Hey, no, watch this guy. Watch this switcher with the shredder." Yeah, put it right in here.
What was that noise? Don't need to concern that, sir. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Your paper has been shredded. Oh, shut up. Shut up. That's all good.
Oh,
These machines.
That is how it is. But I mean, Preckwinkle pretty much was screwed right after the old. First of all, she was infamous for soda tax. She's soda tax lady, which people really had an issue with. Don't tax my soda, I want to get diabetes.
They were really, I know there has to be something like a larger issue involving that, but they were really pissed off about that.
Yeah, she was involved with a lot of scandals, a lot of different issues. I mean, she was definitely not shy of scandal, and then definitely the whole Jussie Smullet situation did not help her case, because she's the one who got in Katie Fox in her position, was like a huge supporter of her, so she was like the whole Jussie Smollett thing was basically is equivalent was for Preckwinkle what what's his face? Oh my gosh, what was his name? What James Comey did to Hillary Clinton in the election. Same difference. Same exact thing. I bet you dollars to donuts Preckwinkle is listening on somewhere. One of her aides come up to her, was like, Katie Fox let Jussie off the hook. And she went, "What? God damn it, Katie Fox!" She's like punching, holes into walls. And she's like, she calls up Hillary, "Hillary, what the hell do I do?" And Hillary's like, "Bitch, this is over for you. You done. It's over." It's like, sorry, but I mean, Jussie Smollett, bro. This guy. I mean, congratulations again to Lori Lightfoot. So we'll end it on there. Like, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, we're all not screwed. She seems like she has some shit together. So, I personally, if you're a Chicagoan, it doesn't really matter who's the mayor of the city. It's a wonderful. We live in one of the greatest cities in the world. Regardless, it's just a matter of how much are your taxes going up? How much is your rent going up next year?
Chicago politics is like the weather. We're just like, oh, fuck it.
Whatever. All right,
it's snowing in summer.
Same shit, different day. I'll go get some tacos.
You take it later.
Yeah. Who cares? Yeah. In the grand scheme of things, but hopefully it'll work out. Hopefully some good things will happen. We don't know. We'll find out. We'll see how many more Batman movies will be made during the era of Lightfoot. I feel like that would definitely be a good Batman villain, Lightfoot. Like, oh no, it's Lightfoot, and he's like super, or she's like super fast. She's like running around, Batman. You can't catch me, Batman.
What Batman movie are they making where it's just like comic criminals are like, you can't catch me, Cape Crusader, like where are we?
Profit Dash is going up, Batman.
What? Did you watch any of the Batman movies?
We're not putting green dye for St. Patrick's Day anymore, Batman.
It's got they have wings for shoes. I'm like,
She's got herpes wings. She's got a harp. It's like, it's Lightfoot.
Your Batman idea. You need to send that to somebody.
I need to. DC needs to know my ideas. DC, if you're paying attention, I got great Batman movie ideas. Anyway, so yeah, I mean the whole Jussie Smullet thing. I mean, I don't know. We weren't gonna talk. We don't need to talk about it for too long. But I mean, I think it's some things need to be said. You need to know Chicago. I mean, we already know the whole story for the most part. If you don't know the story,
do we?
Do we know the story? But I mean, the big thing is definitely what happened after. I mean, look, the facts are the facts, right? Like he had two of his, they were like Nigerian bodyguards of his or something.
They were jacked.
Yeah, they were these huge Nigerian
so can we
dudes
talk about
who were
the fact
bodyguards.
That the only picture they showed of them are them shirtless.
Really? I didn't
all
even
the
see
time.
that.
All they were just like, these are his two the two people he hired to beat him up, and they're always just shirtless, smiling over a mountain. Like it's a very Instagram photo, and I'm like, you can find a picture of them where they're not like half naked, and we're like, okay, yeah, that was them. Like.
But they are ripped.
They're jacked, and I'm like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
They definitely could have put a noose around.
They would have beat the shit out of them if they were really fighting.
Yeah,
like they would have, they were. I wouldn't.
Yo, man, that Subway sandwich is mine.
Like, I mean, they look like they could fuck somebody up, but
I mean, it's obviously there was a lot, but the whole point of why this is like it just took a lot of time and effort away from like the Chicago PD, and now the whole issue is really with the state's attorney. Katie Fox.
All I'm saying is, and I get that it's an issue, and I get that he has to pay them back for the time, or he should, but for one, if he does that, then he admits that he did something wrong,
right, and
that he's a liar. Not saying that he is, but it admits it. And two, I'm sorry, with all of the wealthy white male individuals getting off for stealing all of our money and doing these horrendous things, I'm sorry, it's kind of refreshing to see a gay black man get off. Like part of me,
whoa,
part
get
of me,
off a gay black man getting off. Hold on a minute.
Hey, both. I don't care. Like if it's in a courthouse and he did both, I'd still be like, yep, good. You know, that's right. Good for you. Like part of my mind is like, you know what? Screw it. If it's gonna happen, then let it happen to everyone. Let it happen to everyone with wealth. If we're just gonna fuck around and just let people go, then let people go. Let all people go. Because if you
catch and release,
if you would have got time, we probably would have broken shit down. So
it's possible. There were big protests on each side of the whole thing. Yeah. I mean, I can understand, but I mean, I think the evidence is pretty self-explanatory, and it's just like the whole backwards dealings behind closed door. I mean, the deputy state's attorney literally on the news was asked, "Do you think he's guilty?" Yes. Does this mean he's exonerated? No. We just made a deal where he did some, community service and he'll pay us back, and then he's like, "Not paying you back." And so now the city is suing him, and
he's back on
the Fraternal Order of Police are asking for Katie Fox's, resignation, and she's like, "No, I'm gonna do." Because she's got ties to the Obamas, and it's just a mess, man.
I'm not mad at her. I'll be honest. I'm not mad at her. I get part of it, but I'm definitely not mad at her.
I'm mad at her.
And the fact that I am a little bit upset that Jussie is back on Empire only because
he got a raise.
Only because I'm upset because for me, as a Grey's Anatomy fan, I hope that they would kill him off mysteriously, and then all of a sudden one day, years and years after everything is solidified and they return Empire because they're like, oh, we need to bring Empire back, it's been about 15, 20 years, and it's time to bring it back, and he kind of steps out of the shadows, and he's like, I'm back. And I wanted that moment. I'll admit, I wanted that moment. I wanted him to or for them to be like, you know what, we're not going to give you a story on why he died, but he died. We're not going to tell you why he died, but he gone. Or he just decided to disappear. But you know what? Empire's important. We kind of need it in the city. It helps a lot of performers.
He's a big star. I mean, he's an incredibly talented dude. You can't take that away. But I mean, I'm not afraid to say that I think it's clear he done lied, and I get why. I mean, if you get out of it, you definitely don't want to admit it. That's just PR 101. You don't want to admit it because then you know it's just bad for you personally, anybody. But I mean, it's the whole circumstance of how. I mean, the Chicago PD definitely had all like. It only took like a couple hours for a jury indictment. It was like this. It's like that usually takes a long time.
Though. It's their fault. They could have just kept their mouth shut and been like, oh, by the way, in court, here you go. We have it all right here. But they were like, no, he's a liar. He's a liar. Let everyone know he's a liar. That's the whole thing because Obama's chief of staff basically was like, oh, he's a good guy and, you know, he's down for the cause. And then she was like, okay, community service. So that's why it's just a whole scandal. It's bad, but I'm not going to lie. It was kind of fun. I know it's horrible.
What kind of hijinks can they get into this week,
but
folks?
some crazy shit happened in Chicago, and it didn't result in a death. And it was crazy shit, and everyone was investigating. Everyone was trying to figure out who did it, who done it. We had this image of these shadowy figures. Who done it? And he's talking to people and telling everyone what's going on. And we're like, who done it? And we're like, oh, shit, he done it. And we're like, oh, God, he done it. And then we're like, well, damn, this is getting kind of intense.
Yeah.
And no one died. Like, no one's dead, so we can bring it down a little bit and go, well, hey, at least no one's dead, but this is wrong.
Yeah, well, I know. It just would have been nice if he had gotten at least some... Technically, it was a felony. Like, he should have gotten more in trouble than he did. He basically got a free get-out-of-jail card, like he was playing Monopoly. It's like, land on Obama's free get-out-of-jail card. And he's like, woohoo, lottery! Like, that's basically what happened. It's
Black people don't get that often, so yeah.
I mean, I understand. I understand. It's cool. It's like now other people are like, ooh, it could happen to me.
Like,
it's like, maybe just don't go and pretend that you were part of a hate crime in the first place.
I gotta work, I gotta sing, I gotta be on a good show, I gotta have enough money, and then apparently they get out of free jail card. Okay.
That's all it takes, folks.
Hard work and determination of a good lawyer.
Just become a great singer, get on a great television show based in Chicago, and then just do something stupid, and then that's all it takes.
I admit it was stupid. If he did it.
Stupid.
If he did it.
He did it. All right.
Yeah.
And that takes... he did it. And then...
the rest of the show is just going, he did it.
If he did it. He did it. And that brings us to our segment of this week's Jagoff of the Week. This week, so we have a twofer.
Yeah.
We have a twofer. This week, first is, and this this is my Jagoff. We argued about this, but first Jagoff of the week is Katie Fox. She's under a lot of heat for the whole Smullet thing, and we've already talked about this at great length already now. But the Fraternal Order of Police in the state of Illinois and Chicago have basically asked for her resignation, and they say it's not just because of the Smullet case. It is. But it's like, they're like, oh, she hasn't been helping out the police in tons of other cases. And it's like, yeah, it's the Smullet thing. It's because you embarrassed the fuck out of us. Like, that's really what it is. And I mean, people in Chicago in particular, like, Rahm Emanuel does not like to have egg on his face because he only has 4 fingers to wipe it off anyway. Oh!
You're going to get a shot.
It's a free country, I suppose. But he doesn't like to have egg on his face, and certainly not the police chief, Eddie. I mean, they did put in a lot of work, and they got. It's kind of like they definitely were given the runaround on this whole thing, and it definitely sucks for them. And they lost a lot of money, and as Chicagoans, that's our taxpayer dollars, by the way. So I mean, you'd like to maybe see that money come back at least a little bit. So Katie Fox, you're a Jagoff, and don't do backdoor deals and get people who definitely committed the crime. Okay?
Hey, I'm just happy our taxpayers' money actually solved the crime.
Yeah, that's... Allegedly, technically, allegedly.
We looked at it and went, holy shit, we can actually figure shit out. Yeah, okay, great. If we pay enough money for it, we can get shit done. Okay.
Yeah, it's like, oh, our money actually did something in this city. It didn't just evaporate and go into somebody's back pocket.
Okay, I'm all right.
Wow, amazing.
Okay, so my Jagoff is something a little local. So there was an individual who, and they haven't released his name yet, but he hit a squad car in an intersection, and some of you might have heard of it, but I think it was on the intersection of Ashland and Belmont, and he ran this red light, and apparently he was intoxicated, ran this red light and T-boned the squad car and hit another car. But when I watched the video, he didn't just like run this red light like, oh, I think I can make it, it's yellow, but then we get to red. It was pure red. The car was already out. He was that intoxicated. It was just like, red light? Okay. Like, Jesus, take the wheel. I'm going straight, and we'll see where we go. And they said he was twice the legal limit. 0.205. So it was like 2.5 times the legal limit.
Shenanigans. What possesses you?
Where, why, how, what bar, what time, who let it happen, and who thought, nah, he's not drunk.
Yeah, right. Nobody was like, hey man, you driving? No. And as he pulls out his key.
Yeah, he's not
it's like
driving.
have you seen that movie Hot Fuzz?
Oh, yeah.
It's like that scene where I think his name's Nick Frost goes out with and Simon Pegg's following him, and he's like, "You're not driving, are you?" He goes, "No." And he pulls out his key, and he's just like jacking the, and then he runs into the water fountain. It's like one of those scenes.
Insane, but apparently everyone was in stable condition. Thank goodness everyone survived so far that we've heard. But that leads into another segment that we had. That we found out that
hey guy, you're a Jagoff.
You are a Jagoff. That apparently in Illinois, drivers have hit more parked squad cars this year than all of 2018. And you've been hearing it in the news more and more that like, oh, this squad car got hit. This squad car got hit by a car. Oh, like in 2018 there was 8. In 2017 we had 12. I don't know whether there was an uptick a year before. And then in 2016 it was only 5 in the entire year. This year we have 13 so far.
Holy cripes.
13.
Why are you hitting squad cars, Chicago?
So most have said that
what's going on here?
It's either intoxication or poor driving in certain conditions.
Do you think it's just because there's 1,000 more police officers? There's just more cars to hit? There's just more squad cars out on the road, so people are just hitting them more often.
And people apparently they're just like, okay, well, it's raining and snowing, whatever. I don't care. It's foggy. Okay, I'm just gonna keep driving like normal.
Are they hitting them with their cars, or are they just like running up like, "Fuck you, pigs," and like hitting them with like a bat or something? You damn cops!
I feel like we've had
Protecting our city.
if they wrote an article about like, okay, so there's a lot of people in the city of Chicago hitting squad cars with wiffle bats. It's really, really fucking strange, and we don't know why, but they're doing it. And it's only at 13 this year, but it's way more than last year.
Random games of wiffle ball are happening all across the city of Chicago, and squad cars are being beaten into a pulp by wiffle bats.
Just papping squad cars everywhere. No, they're by vehicles,
the hell?
and so I guess they're trying to figure out like don't hit squad cars. But at the end of it, it's like don't drink and drive. And it's like okay,
great, thanks. Wear a seatbelt.
I will remember that. I know that, but
yeah.
I guess. How has that stopped anyone before?
Right, exactly. Yeah, right. As long as there's drinking somewhere.
Like sometimes the reminders of don't drink and drive are like, yeah, I know, that's why I'm not doing it. Right. Tell the people who are not listening, but even so, they're going to do it anyway.
Right,
so.
Exactly. It's not like somebody's looking at that and going, don't drink
I had no
and
clue.
drive. I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh man.
Oh man, you tell me that I shouldn't drive after I drink? What? Oh man. Oh, it's like all those domestic violence things that were coming out for the NFL. It was like, domestic violence is not acceptable. It's like if people were watching that, were like, oh, I shouldn't be. This is totally a Bill Burr joke, by the way. I don't want to like steal credit here. Like it'd be like something like, yeah, guy steals jokes. Like, but seriously, like, he says like, oh, as if we didn't know beating women was a bad thing. Like most men are like they're in the middle. This is again a Bill Burr like, damn it, string on it. Oh, wait, the TV says I shouldn't be beating you. Oh, oopsie daisy, sweetheart. Like, whoa, like, oh yeah, don't drink and drive, folks. It's a bad idea. Oh shit, mind blown.
You realize that if you do drink and drive, you could just not pay for one. You could pay for one less drink and get like an Uber or a Lyft.
What is Uber, yeah. Norm?
Yeah, you can get someone. I think it's like a thing where people pick you up and you pay for them to drive you places.
Like Enterprise Rent-A-Car?
Yeah, but you don't have to drive it.
Wow.
So,
fantastic.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That is some cool beans. Cool beans.
So don't drink and drive.
Exactly. I'm gonna just delete that right there. What? Oh no, it's my finger. Okay, that's what she said. All right, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. It's a good thing I put explicit on when I was putting this on iTunes.
If a girl stopped you during any type of connection or romantic thing and was like, oh my god, that's my finger, like, what were you? Don't drink and drive, right?
And sometimes I just can't help myself. I'm like, you can always count on me to do the "that's what she said" joke. Anyway, that's about all we have this week on the Chicago 60. We also had a couple other stories we want to get to, but we will save those for next week's episode. So, for all of you who stayed with us on Facebook Live, I do see we have quite a few comments. Thank you very much. We will respond to you very soon. It's just far away. We couldn't really get to responding.
I'm glad
we really appreciate it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like it's all bad news, and so you guys suck. But thank you for watching. We appreciate it. Again, make sure if you like what you're listening to, if you like what you see, make sure to like our Facebook page. Share this on your Facebook page so that other people can see the show. Also, go to YouTube and like us on YouTube. Subscribe. Just type in Chicago 60. We will show up. And also, stay tuned. We will give you the official word once we are approved by iTunes. And once we do, go and subscribe. Leave us comments. Leave us a review. Tell your friends about our podcast. Again, we're going to have a lot more cool entertainment. We're going to have a lot of guests on and things. A lot of cool new things are going to be coming in the next couple of months, but we just wanted to start giving you great content so you can laugh and know a little bit about what's going on in our city. It is the greatest city despite all of the light pollution, the homicides, and the measles that are going on, and the killing of migratory birds. But other than that, it is the greatest city, Chicago. Okay, the greatest city in the whole wide world, Chicago. Okay, so stay tuned for that. Go like us, go follow us, go subscribe, and tell your friends about us because this is going to be an essential podcast if you live in Chicago. So with that, thank you very much. Norm, any parting words for our fans? All 5 of them?
For those 5 fans out there who are watching right now, if you know of anyone with a boat at all, any type of boat, a yacht specifically, a boat, and if you don't know this reference, it's Thunder in Paradise. It had Hulk Hogan in it. It was on USA. It was a long time ago. Look it up. It's great. It's fantastic. We are looking for a boat. I am specifically looking for a boat. Talk to your friends with a boat. Let them know. Watch this show. Let them know. Give us an opportunity. It'd be great. Oh, yeah, and watch the show.
Watch the show. Yeah. And with that, we always like to end the podcast with our old-time favorite saying, bear down and forget the Packers! See you next week, everybody.
I'm by myself. Now, I'm by myself. Now, he can't